If I were to have to choose one person to blame for the wreck that has been made of our beautiful world and my life personally during the last 65 years, I would not have to think very hard. The worst perpetrator of them all is a man named Lewis Lapham, who was editor of Harper's Magazine in the 1980s. It was this pusillanimous dandy from New York, a woman's columnist, who dabbles in high society's views of politicians, who should have and could have said when they claimed to have found the Burston script, Jimmy Curry is the child of a humanist. This is a plot by the military fundamentalist freak show in Washington, D.C. Leave him alone. Try to find out why he was in the scholars program in Fulton Elementary School and his grades suddenly dropped after he appeared in the office crying for help from men he said were going to murder him, and then disappeared for a month, and his mother sold her house and moved. But he did nothing of the kind. He leered and he lisped and he talked to Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr and Patrick Buchanan and said, let's make Creary out to be a delinquent and promote the people who tortured him. Won't that be funny? And he called forth and summoned what Buchanan called his peasant army, heedless of the murders that he was conjuring from the Branch Davidian culture, heedless of the warmongering upmanship of the Gurdjieff cluck, heedless of the mindless violence and power of Carnegie Mellon University's radio KKK, heedless of the deranged boogie monster he had made of me, of the NAACP, heedless of the violence and cruelty in the script and the taunting and the ethnic slurs directed at me as a deaf Irish white person, heedless of anything but the cackling that he could get from Yoko Ono. He abandoned his claim to trying to protect liberalism in a society that had gone deranged with military extremism in favor of what he clearly regarded as an insider's practical joke. It implicated him in the manuscript of Gail Burston, and he probably was. He mired the idea of making me argue for my life against what Pittsburgh has summoned yet again to demonstrate their Holocaustal brutality and legal impunity, the essence of their Fern Hollow Bridge collapse philosophy, which I can explain to you. They believe as a law and power of the Almighty, not in the truth, not in the hard work of establishing facts, not in securing professional public defenders to protect the disabled, not in securing the police to arrest poison criminals. Pittsburgh believes in none of that. They believe in one thing and only one thing. It's a mysterious form of social enlightenment to them. It's a mysterious mystique that elevates to great positions of superiority, the cranks who they love and worship. And they have identified it and told me about it and exposited on it and demonstrated the money that can be made by it. And they live in awe, their mouths agog at the way they get away with fiendish destruction of schools, chemical warfare, murder of toddlers, the rape of children, the slavery of the unions to lies. What is this mysterious thing? Market forces. What they got from the Branch Davidians with Timothy McVeigh demonstrates that the bombing of children in Gaza is nothing new to these miracle wonders from the University of Pittsburgh. Carnegie Mellon University created a hot wiretap through the office Jaime Carbonell, Jeffin Corporation, and Penis Gabriel's Bath, England, that cared nothing whatsoever about the truth of the situation regarding what they were cackling was extruding in the name of free speech to hang a patsy that they had designated for profit and earmarked for extermination in cold blood for all the world to see. They ran this hot wire through the office of a monster who only wanted to prove that he could conjure demons through purposeful mistranslation. His practical joke on linguistic anthropology and computer translation, all endorsed by Roger Waters. Because I was from Bush's ship in the Navy, had little to do with it. I was what Thomas Gordon called a convenient thing to hate. They just earmarked me and did it. They used a neurological implant and then impacted it with terrible memories that they extruded in a climate of absurdity for absurd theater purposes. And it was the essence of the entire conduct of the administrative levels of Washington, D.C., leading to Clinton, Obama, W. Bush, Trumpy Toon, and now this weirdo, Joe Biden, who doesn't know the difference between a balance sheet of capitalism and a genocide and a war on toddlers. How bad is that? And throughout the background of the whole thing, people proclaiming themselves savants, prophets, inside geniuses, gurus of heaviosity. They proclaimed as truth cold-blooded lies. The Zappas. Z is for Zionist Zappa Zania. And they got away with it because of their mysterious market forces. That's what they put before everything. They will destroy the earth in the name of market forces. They will poach the elementary schools in the name of market forces. They will destroy the integrity of the University of Pittsburgh, law school, ethical foundations in the name of market forces. And what are these market forces doing? Selling leers, gyrations, extravagant fraudulent diagnoses, experiments on minors in cold blood that leave them irreversibly destroyed, a deranged, maniacal NAACP spinner beanie crowd who want to do the same thing to other people in the name of their own what? Market forces. And the ethical foundation for schools, the courage to deal constructively with climate change is 100% absent because of their filial, swarming, monotonous worship of what they call market forces. And they summon from the forbidden planet of mainstream media weirdos to sanction, in the name of their party religion, the massacre of completely innocent and normal people who we refuse to give the time of day or attempt to understand or apply anything like diplomatic courtesy to, because we have siphoned market forces that allow us to do that with weird impunity. Market forces is the watchword behind all of their fiendish, despicable, childish war games with real victims. Children in Gaza, children in Oklahoma Federal Building, children at Fulton Elementary School. You could argue that they have found the golden light, the milk and honey of all grounds for negligence by cultivating racism towards Africa in a media project that's intended to put the whole burden on an American society that's being robbed. Most of us are poor and can't make ends meet. We have this idea of ourselves as somehow classy figures in the historical heritage of a human civilization in the march of progress, the American century that lasted a couple of years. And we don't even practice anything towards each other that resembles the slightest bit of elementary courtesy. Elementary courtesy, recognition of fact, protection of the public right to know. It's completely spun out of the issues that we allow to be regarded in the name of scrubbing away the truth about what's happened with the market forces of public relations, the spin control of the celebrity superstate. One after another, we've seen all of the things that we were led to believe about ourselves targeted and destroyed. And who gets empowered by this targeting and destruction? The market forces that these spinner beanies worship. They can't think carefully about what has happened to our public safety, to our public schools, to our group exchange processes, to the laws of evidence, to the meaningful progress of safety for the ecological realm of the world. They can't understand that Congress of the parties, COP28, came and went with nothing but a lampoon in its wake. The insistence on continuing to support fossil fuels. They can't comprehend that their cars are a monotonous decision to end the world unless we change the way we go about relating to each other and to our ecological environment. We are doomed. And we can't accept anything even remotely like integrity, discussion, remorse. I'm a disabled person. And these cock and bull artists got away for decades saying that I would be a failure and a troublemaker at school. So why bother teaching me sign language? That I'm not deaf, that I'm ignoring them. That was the words of the number 2 attorney from our Nuremberg's law school when I detected the vainglorious and anti-valorous, anti-chivalrous, anti-Arab racism and criminal direction of his tutorship of the entire law school class. He said to me, "You're not deaf, you're ignoring me." What kind of thing is that for an Israeli to say to a deaf man who was tortured by them as a symbol of the America who they scorn? Lewis Lapham didn't consider once this categorical nature of what was done to me or the disability of deafness. He just threw it all away for an insider's joke. He clucked his tongue and said, "What's this mean, Jaime?"